Hello. Did everyone get some drinks, get some food, get some merch? Yes? Are you guys excited? You guys ready to dance and have fun to 80s music and some original work from the generations? Come on, let's go. Come on, maybe you need a few more drinks. Okay, so we're all here today because of this guy to my right, Rob Steppen. Congratulations to him. He has quite the story to tell about how we all got here tonight. And I say we because I did something with him a couple months ago. So I'm here to kind of tell you a little bit about the story. Well, he's here to tell you about the story, but I'm here to kind of ask him the questions. So that's my job. Anyways, okay, Rob Steppen, he's the founder of The Generations. And he also has a wonderful story to tell about his early musician years in the 80s. Remember that, folks? Remember the 80s? I think most of us do. Some people weren't born, Kate, not until 1983, but we'll school them on what's good music, right? So, Rob, tell me a little bit about how this all started. It began with some tracks back in the 80s.
So some of you already know this story because you may have seen me on WGN, Fox News. Did anybody see me on WGN or Fox? Anybody? Okay. And a big responsibility is this lady here. She's my cheetah. Give it up for Kasha. Let's have a big hand for her. She actually was able to get me on those stations as well as WXRT, Terry Hemmert, Lisa Fielding. How about Lisa Fielding? What a rock star she is, huh? And so I'll just give you the cliff notes. Bottom line was back in 85, I recorded 2 songs professionally. At the end of the session, everything was on analog tape. I went to the producer. I said, hey, how can I listen to my songs? You're not on that. It's only this. So the bottom line was they were on analog. I didn't have a reel-to-reel player. So I put them in a box and forgot about them for 38 years in my attic. Last January, I was rummaging through my attic. I found this box. It was like a musical time capsule. And I got connected through a friend of mine, Jim Perkolowitz, with the iconic Steve Albini. Does anybody know who Steve Albini was? A few people. Somebody over here knows who he was. So Steve Albini was a producer for Nirvana. He took on my project, he produced us, and it was just this magical journey with Steve. So another piece of Steve is here right now today. Her name is Mac, Lauren McDonald. Give it up for her. She's actually the sound engineer. And she was a protege of Steve Albini. And so after we got the tapes back from Steve, we sent them to Third Man Records in Detroit, Michigan, owned by Jack White's from the White Stripes group. And everything was pressed. Now, the cool thing is, I always try to pay it forward. And anybody that knows me knows that I try to pay it forward. So I was trying to come up with a charity to give these donations to. And my friend, who is a childhood friend of mine, Phil Smith, let's give a hand for Phil Smith, made a suggestion because I said, hey, Phil, I want to do something with music and kids. And he said, I got the perfect guy. His name is Mike Gamal, and Mike is the founder of Joey's Song. And so Joey's Song is near and dear to our hearts. Everybody in the generations is moved by that story. And Phil's going to tell you a little bit about the story in a minute. But Mike, his son Joe, at the age of 5, tragically passed away from a rare form of pediatric epilepsy. Now, when I heard this, I said, I got to do something for him. And that's why everybody's here today. And I really do appreciate the outpouring of love from each and every one of you, because part of the donations from the door, the album that we have here, the merch sales will go to Joey's Song. And by the way, I work for a company called Insperity. Insperity, I think there's a couple people from Insperity here. Insperity will match whatever I put in there. And it's really cool that my company does that. So with that said, I'm turning it back to Lisa, and she's going to interview Phil, and you guys are going to know a little bit more about Joey's Song. and then the band's going to rock out. I got some badass musicians, and wait till they take the stage because it's going to be a epic night. Thank you very much for coming. It means a lot to me.
Rob Steppen, everybody. The man, the myth, the legend, the musician. All right. So he referenced Joey's song. I love music and I love charity, and that's what we're here for tonight, of course. So every donation he mentioned goes to this wonderful charity, and Phil is here. Phil Smith is here to tell us a little bit about this charity. Come on over here. Oh, you're going to use that mic. Okay, sounds good.
You can ask me a
He
question.
wants his own mic. All right. So Phil, tell me about Joey's song, how it all began, and how you got involved, and about your friend, Mike.
Sure. First of all, thank you all for coming out here tonight. Means a lot. Rob has busted his rear end for Joey's song, but also to get on WGN, WXRT, and Fox. I mean, back in the day, let's call it what it is, kids, right? We all grew up in the 80s or 90s. It was a different world back then. A little bit different leadership in the United States. Everybody had fun. And back in the day, this place would have lines out the door, right? Music's changed, radio's changed, and everything. So I come from the world of paying life forward. I came from nothing, made myself into something. Very active in the Shriners Hospitals. How many Cubs fans here today? How many Sox fans here today?
Let's talk about that record, shall
So
we?
this is how I want to start this, but I've been active in the Shriners Hospitals for a long time because I like to drive little cars and wear flower pots on my heads and be in parades. But I had the honor this year to bring Sammy Sosa back to Chicago back in the March. And spent 4 days with him, love him or hate him, you know what, a very kind human being. I took him to the Children's Hospital for the Shriners. There's a little boy, 11 years old, who lost both of his arms and his legs, the meningitis. And Sammy spent 45 minutes with him. No one ever talks about that in the press. And we're going to roll into Joey song. But the Joey song became very important to me because of Michael Gamol, who could not be here tonight. He's up in Madison, had a family emergency and asked me to step in and talk about it. His 5-year-old son had a rare epilepsy. And within a year, he started Joey's song with about 15 people in a bar in Chicago. Now, this coming the second weekend of January, we'll have 2,500 people come out with different artists from the Bangles, from the Go-Go's, from, who am I missing?
Cheap Trick, I think, right?
Cheap Trick,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Rockford Song.
You know, just, it's amazing. All these artists come in, they don't come in to get paid. The expenses are taken care of course, the hotel and the airfare, but I mean, it's pretty cool stuff to watch.
And over the years, how much money do you know have you raised, and kind of how many years has this been going on? And tell me about some of the past events you guys have had. It's
been about 10 years. Michael's up to $1.3 million, and this year is the most tickets sold ever.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, folks, we're at that point. We got to pay life forward. We're all blessed. Look at everybody here in the room, right? Looks like everybody's got good health. There's some folks that have some epilepsy. They understand that. As we get older, we got to pay life forward, take care of one another, and give some love, and that's what Michael's done.
And how did the music kind of overlap with all of this?
So
That's the best
Michael and
part.
I have an entertainment and music background, and Michael started with all his artists. He was a radio DJ up in Madison, and he just started putting this together, and it started growing and growing and growing and growing. He was supposed to have Billy Corrigan this year from the Smashing Pumpkins, but there was an event that overlapped it, and Joan Jett was supposed to be here. But what's interesting, if you get into joeysong.org, you have silent auctions, and anything from signed guitars from Cheap Trick to Reznor over at Goo Goo Dolls. So a lot of stuff. What you're doing here tonight is you're changing lives, each and every one of you, by coming in here and donating. So thank you.
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to talk about this? How can people donate? How can people help?
Sure.
Beyond tonight.
First and foremost, of course, Rob wants to sell some swag. So if you're interested in a Joey Song sweatshirt, winter hasn't showed up. We all know that. That happens in January. Get yourself a sweatshirt, get a T-shirt, whatever. But you know what? My hat goes off to Rob because of his passion for what he's done here. Also with Joey's Song. He wanted to make this a great night. We're all going to enjoy it. A belated Merry Christmas, a happy Hanukkah, and of course, a happy 2025, and the best to everybody in their health.
Thank you, Phil. Phil Smith, thank you so much. And Joey's Song. learn more about it. It's a great cause, and it brings musicians together.
One last thing, raise your glasses if you would. Let's do a toast to all of you, each one of you who came out here tonight. If you need an Uber or Lyft, do it right? But thank you again from Rob and his heart, and thank you for supporting Joey Song and Michael Gamol. If you get a chance to come up there in the middle, I think of the second weekend of, they're going to have we're going to have the Goo Goo Dolls. I'm trying to remember where they're going to have Cheap
In
Trick.
Madison?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Bangles, Go-Go's, Portugal, the Man. I never heard
Oh
of
yeah.
them. They're
oh
great.
yeah, they do that one song.
And if you get a chance to come up, spend a couple days, enjoy yourself.
It's a 2-day event, 3-day
It's
event.
a 3-day, Thursday,
Okay,
Friday,
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah.
Saturday is a big event. Everybody goes up there and jams. It's a big time, good time.
Madison's
So,
only a couple hours away. I used to live there myself, so yeah.
so, thank you.
All right, Phil, thanks so much. All right, you guys, so the band is getting ready to be rock stars. Rob's changing into his big outfit. So get a few more drinks and get ready to rock.